today, instead of doing my normal walk, I got up and drove down here because I wanted to show you the city before it really opened up and got crazy crowded and loud. Good morning, MexitPlanners. This is the beginning of the gastronomic path that goes from 47 to 60. So today we're going to start at the Remate, which is here. And we're going to walk towards Parque Santa Ana. So I'm going to show you the rest of what this path is going to be. Now it's early in Merida. It is like 6:30 a.m. Which is a good time to get out because the city really hasn't awakened yet. People are kind of starting to get off and go to work, but there's not a lot of traffic. So we are walking west from Paseo de Montejo, headed towards Parque Santa Ana, which is really only 2 blocks from Paseo de Montejo. This is Calle 58, which is like the main southbound street that we're crossing over. And across the street, coming up starting about right here past this gas station, that is the market Santa Ana. So each little community or each little barrio or colonia in Merida kind of has a park, a market. And this market is where folks go and get their food in the morning. And by food, I mean produce, meat, eggs, things of that nature. There's also a big Parque Santa Ana has a big food market, which I have video of that. A short where I'm eating panuchas in Parque Santa Ana. But you can see that this area as well is under construction. Now, during events, they will have concerts in Parque Santa Ana. They'll set up a stage and have like bleachers and people out dancing. It's pretty cool. One of the biggest events that happens like twice a year is Noche Blanca, or the White Night. And they actually close Calle 60, which is the street we're approaching right now. So this is the biggest northbound area. So this is Calle 60. And this is the historic tourist street for Merida. So you can see that Calle 60 is now completely kind of under construction. But if you're leaving Centro, this is kind of like the road you take when you're leaving Centro, right? And it takes you all the way north. Calle 60 in the north actually becomes Avenida Tecnica or Avenida Tecnológica, which then runs back into Prolongation de Montejo as you leave town headed towards Progreso. But this street, Avenida 60, has been where the majority of the tourism happens, and it's really just, you know, Parque Santa Ana is at the end of 60, or not the end, but it's kind of as you're starting to leave Centro, you have Parque Santa Ana, and then a few blocks up the street, this will take us basically, you know, we're walking due south now, and this will take us to the Grand Plaza eventually in about 6 or 8 blocks or so. But as you can see, they've already started to modify the sidewalks. It looks like they removed the asphalt or something down here. Yo, I just got a whiff of fresh roasted coffee. I don't know where it's coming from, but I do know that smell. A little fun fact about me is I'm an avid coffee drinker, as you've probably realized. But I don't know, I'm gonna have to find that fresh roasted coffee. But I used to roast my own coffee beans. I used to roast green coffee beans back in the States. And before I realized we were moving a bunch of stuff here, I sold my coffee roaster. So I don't know if I'll ever buy another one. It was a fun hobby. You know, I bet you I know where that smell was coming from. There's a coffee shop a few blocks over in Santa Ana that I bet is where that smell was coming from. So Calle 60, as I was saying earlier, is the main street that they shut down whenever there's an event like Noche Blanca. And literally this becomes just a pedestrian way and you can walk up and down the street. It's pretty cool. This restaurant right here, BiKiak, it's a Spanish restaurant and they do things like the whole suckling pig. They also used to have flamenco dancing. I'm not sure if they do anymore, but that was one of the cool things I experienced years ago, was the flamenco dancing here. This spot right here, it's called Caracol, Purpura. It's a neat little gallery. It's closed right now, but it's a neat little gallery. They have shops. They have a lot of local Mexican artists. They have art from Oaxaca. They have art from Guadalajara. They have art from all over. So this is the parking area for Santa Lucia. And it's a little known like spot, not little known, it's pretty, I guess, well known. But this is where I park. Whenever I come to Centro, most of the time, I park in the parking area of Santa Lucia. All right, I'm gonna cross over. So we're at Parque Santa Lucia. And this park is known for a couple of things. It's lots of good restaurants. So this is La Trato, which is an Italian restaurant. Very nice patio. Then you have Brian's at the park. Brian's has delicious French fries, like really good fries. And then you come up to Avec Amour, which is expanded. Avec Amour has the best creme brulee in all of Merida, maybe in this area. It's a French restaurant. We come down just for the creme brulee. So another thing to know about this is that they have restrooms or bathrooms here as you exit out towards, this is the parking lot of Santa Lucia. So plenty of parking spaces, but if there's an event, you need to get down here early because they fill up quick, because most people know about it. And it's like 20 pesos an hour, so a little over $1 maybe. But Avec Amour, in order to use the restrooms, you need to actually be a guest at one of the restaurants and they'll let you in with the key. World-class chocolate at this chocolate spot. They have here, they won some like world award for the local chocolate. Rosa del Sur has great breakfast. I've eaten there for breakfast. I've eaten at all these restaurants actually. Apoloa is it's the sister restaurant to Tatamar, which is one of my favorite. And Tatamar is in La Isla Mall, but Apoloa is the sister restaurant to that. Now they have a stage here, which they often do events on the stage. So there'll be dancing. As you can see, the bleachers are permanently set up here. So it's not uncommon in the evenings to find like cultural events or dancing and that kind of thing. But this park is always known as the park with the big friendship chairs. So people, whenever they come, they take pictures of the friendship chairs. I can start to see some like decorations for Independence Day, which is coming up. September 16th, I believe, is Mexican Independence Day. So each neighborhood kind of has a park, a church, municipal areas. Like this is all city of Merida, so the municipal area for this is just kind of like a neighborhood. But when you get into colonials, they have the same situation. But 4 blocks down this way is, from Santa Lucia, is La Calle Spanish School. And that's where I've taken a ton of lessons. When I go to La Calle, and when I don't walk from my house, which is like 3.5 miles to here, I park at Santa Lucia and just walk over those 4 blocks. So this is a picture of what I guess the 60 to 47 will be. This is what they're, expecting it to look like. There are all sorts of souvenir shops up and down here. This is another park. This actually, I think this park has a hotel behind it. Oh, there's another Starbucks. I didn't even realize that Starbucks was there. It is hard to find coffee early in Merida. Most coffee shops don't open before 7, which is why I like Baretto coffee. All right, so this is the Grand Plaza, and to my left here is the big main cathedral. This is like one of the oldest churches in the Americas. So this is the cathedral. And to my right is Plaza Grande. And there are all sorts of museums surrounding this park. This is the literal center of Merida, or the state of Yucatan. All points are measured from here to the rest of the Yucatan. So this is the Plaza de Revolucion, and this is a pass that goes between 60 and 58. And they used to have a bunch of these installations. There's also a couple of, or a museum in here. But they removed, I guess, a lot of these installations, but they used to have a lot of them. This was pretty cool. 8 a.m. I believe it's still 8 a.m. They will raise the flag. And there's a whole process, you know, a whole flag ceremony that happens every day down here. I've been down here on Sundays riding my bike, and you can kind of experience that flag ceremony. But on any given evening or on the weekends they actually have a lot of tents set up, vendors selling things. On any given evening, this park is packed, so they'll raise the Mexican flag on this pole. And I'm curious, they just started flying the Yucatecan flag like last week after 187 years. I'm curious if they put the Yucatecan flag up now. All around this park, there are museums, there are restaurants. This is the main focal point of tourism. I came to this park 18 years ago on a cruise with Carnival and fed these same pigeons. I don't know if it was these pigeons, but pigeons just like it. So when you first come to Merida and people talk about, oh, what is there to do? Like, these are some of the first things. You come to Grand Plaza, you go to the church, you hit the museums around this square. There's some really cool restaurants here. There's one that I'm gonna walk by. I don't remember the name, so I have to walk by it. But it has a neat terrace up there, up top here where those birds are flying. That's the terrace. And it overlooks this whole thing. You need a reservation because it kind of fills up, but the food's pretty good. Or just come out for cocktails when people come in town. Meet here and have cocktails on the roof at sunset. It's pretty neat. Restaurant is Picheta. Picheta. Highly recommend you have a reservation and check out the rooftop around 6:30. Directly next to the governor's palace, I believe. The Palacio de Expresso is the governor's palace. Buenos dias. And I believe it's a museum. There's things you can do around. Let me ask them about the flag. Disculpe, tengo una pregunta. ¿A qué hora levanten las banderas de México?
5 para las 8.
5 para las 8? ¿Es solo de bandera de México o bandera de Yucatán igualmente?
No, solo de
México. Ok, sí. Gracias. Tengo buen día. So yeah, here they're raising just the Mexican flag, and in Otra and in other places, like Liverpool. Well, that's a really good shot. Let me see. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's so far down. Let's see if I can zoom in. But you can kind of see the arch. There's still like 3 or 4 places where the arches are. I don't know if you can see that. That is a really good shot this morning. So those were the literal city limits of Merida at one point back in the day, where all of the surrounding neighborhoods were kind of the outskirts. I'll go down here and just show you some of the restaurants, some other restaurants. So as I was saying, this is the heart of the tourist area in Merida. Full of local restaurants. So I am now going west from Calle 58. Just one block. I'm gonna walk one block behind Santa Lucia, although it's a pretty busy street. Most of the streets in Centro are one-way streets. So if you're driving down here, one of the ways to know is by looking at the sign, and there's a direction arrow that points you to which direction the street goes. Pretty important. There are some places where it'll start off in one direction and then it'll literally change. So I believe I am on 62. Let's see. Find the sign here at the next corner. But on both sides of me, they're all closed down because it's super early, are souvenir shops. One after the other. Okay, well, she just crossed over. She's probably going to work in La Chaya, which is a really well-known Yucatecan cuisine. I personally don't like it as much. Hey, it's in Centro, but it stays packed. I should really give it another shot because I've come to appreciate Yucatecan food a little bit better. Had panuchas yesterday for lunch. There are other places, like literally right behind my house, that I like a little better. Habaneros. There's La Chaya there. It is on the corner of 57 and 62. Habaneros is one of the places I like a little bit better than Chaya. This is the Museo Gastronomico Yucatecan. They do a demonstration. It's on 62. This restaurant is on 62, and they have parking literally across the street. Taking the tortillas and all those things, and the food is actually really good in there. That one I would recommend that you visit. It's a little bit more expensive than Chaya, but and actually it's more upscale too than Chaya. But there are tons of Airbnbs in this area. These old colonials, you have no idea what's behind these doors until you open them up and go inside. So we are now at the corner of 55 and 62, and this is where Volta Cafe, Carmesi, and a bookstore that I think is closing between the lines is located. I'm gonna go ahead and cross the street. But inside of this building, which is right behind the parking lot of Santa Lucia, inside of this building, there's a couple of restaurants, coffee shops. Volta Cafe is pretty good. There's a new wine bar that I haven't been to. Maybe it's been there, Bochos. Wine, tapas, and coffee. I haven't been to that. There's literally a lot to do. So when people talk about, Merida being walkable, or I want to be in a walkable area, this is kind of what they're talking about, Central, because you could walk, a block or two and be in everything. I consider where I live very walkable as well. In fact, I walk from my house in the north of Merida to Centro. Today, instead of doing my normal walk, I got up and drove down here because I wanted to show you the city before it really opened up and got crazy crowded and loud. The Benny Ba is like running down these little narrow streets. In Centro, most businesses open, or just in Merida in general, most businesses open at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. So we're coming up on another pretty famous point. On the left-hand side is La Negrita. It's a cantina, one of the oldest cantinas in the city, I think. And it is pretty popular. Let me just say, if you're planning to go there, parking can be a challenge. And in fact, anywhere you see yellow on the street like that, You cannot park, yellow and red. You cannot park on the street in those spots, and they will ticket you. I've been ticketed the first time I came here. But that's La Negrita now has parking. That is new. It closes at 10 o'clock. So there is now parking for La Negrita, because it was a pain parking there or trying to park around there. So that closes at 10:30. So Tierra de Cafe is the coffee shop that I was thinking was roasting a coffee, but apparently not. Somebody's roasting coffee. They have a huge coffee roaster in Tierra de Cafe, which is why I thought maybe that was it. And we're on 45 now, so we're just gonna walk on 45. Back to Santa Ana. So 505 is an Airbnb that we've stayed at a number of times. It is huge. It is 6 or 8 bedrooms. I think 6 bedrooms. We've stayed there for New Year's Eve and a couple of other events, but they have their own parking here. And it is just right outside of Parque Santa Ana. It's 505 45th Street, but I'm waiting across the street here. This is a busy street. So there's the Church of Santa Ana. And you can see the street is under construction still. There are actually museums on this street. This pink and yellow building has like some galleries and things in it. And then there's some galleries down this street. So this whole street is really a lot of art. On 60, there's a lot of art. I don't know if you guys saw the short where I came over one day after meeting a client to eat panuchas. And I was telling you that these guys are really aggressive. Normally when you walk through here and they're open, like they're super aggressive for food. I'm gonna try to walk through here. I don't know if the market's open yet or not, but looks like it might be. But lots of different food options all down through here. The market's not quite open. They're getting it set up. But local food market in Santa Ana. So you can imagine the ingredients are coming in fresh to this market, and they're cooking it up front. So you can imagine how good that tastes, right? Coming up on my left-hand side is it's a store called Tags, and they sell these unique shoes that are unique to this area, but they've done something really cool. They've actually like customized them. You can get custom shoes made exactly how you want with any design, and they're like $20, or it used to be like $20. I don't know how much they are now. They're like 400 pesos, but that's it right across the street here. This is Tags. You can see on the sign, but this is it, and I'll see if I can show you the window. The guy who owns it is named Mauricio. He's super dope, super cool guy. I'm right behind. I'm like, my nose is telling me I'm right at this roasted coffee. So I'm gonna go back up to this coffee shop on 58, because that's probably, it says that it was roasted. That's probably where it's coming from. So we're backtracking a little bit on search for this fresh roasted coffee. I didn't smell it when I walked by just a second ago, that, you know what? Sorry for all the turning back and forth, but my nose is telling me that it's not there. So as I approach 49 and 58, I caught a whiff of it again. Yeah, it's definitely somewhere on this block. Oh my, it's getting stronger. So I'm on 49. Follow the nose. Manifesto roast coffee, I think twice a month, and it's been a while since I've actually bought a bag of coffee from them. I bought a big gift pack. My wife bought me a Christmas pack. 2-lane street, and this dude drove through the water. Luckily, he didn't splash me. So whoever's roasting it is roasting it back there, and they may be roasting it, again, behind one of these walls. No, here it is. There it is, right there. Fresh roasted coffee. Let's see. Yeah, they're roasting it right in here. I don't know if you can see that. So we found it. Hopefully they're open. No! Looks like they might open in 6 minutes. It says 8 o'clock though. So this is Cafe French Roast. All right, so it doesn't appear we're gonna get fresh roasted coffee today, but I located where it was coming from. But the cool thing about Tags is it's actually like just at the end of the Remate, not a half a block up to the right is Tags. So it's a cool thing. It's definitely a recommended souvenir from Yucatan because it's unique to this place. Handmade, fairly inexpensive. It's one of the things I would recommend. That and a hammock that you buy if you want a gift to remember the Yucatan. A lot of cool restaurants in the Remate. A lot of cool restaurants. So Neo Pizza, some really good pizza I had not too long ago. This is a fairly new place, but good food. And it's really owned by the same person. And there are 3 different, they're definitely getting ready for Independence Day. So there goes Hidalgo. But Neo Pizza, very good pizza. Right beside that is 2 restaurants. Actually, it's the same restaurant with a terrace. It's the El Remate, and above it, up top, there's a nice terrace that serves seafood. So we ate there the other day. Up top, you definitely need reservations. Below, you have this, nice glass view of the Remate. Good food. So highly recommend these 2 restaurants. So the last thing I'll shoot is I know where I can get good coffee, and that is down here at Baretto. They open at 7. So we're gonna walk this gastronomic path again because I'll go in there, show you Baretto, and get a cup of coffee to go. Even just since last week, they've made progress on all of this. I mean, this looks completely different just from a week ago. Hola, buenos dias.
Hola, buenos dias.
All right, so I'm in Baretto. They have delicious pastries. I'm gonna walk from the back. So this is the back of the restaurant. They have a bathroom here. They have a really cool mural and dining area. One of the few places that open early. They're open at like 7 a.m. And it's just a really cool coffee shop. Like really good people. If you want coffee early in Merida, this is the place to go. Nice murals, like really decorated really well. And me gustaría hoy de café de casa. Sí. Americano para llevar. Sí, gracias. Con poco hielito, por favor. Hielito. No, caliente con poco hielo. Gracias. And one of the cool things about Baretto, I'm going to step outside and walk in, is that's cool. They have a walk-up window. So you can actually order your coffee, walk up here, there's the menu, and they'll hand it to you and you can kind of keep it moving. But this is in the heart, like this is the beginning of the gastronomical district. And again, they open at 7, which is one of the few places. They may be the only coffee shop open this time, or that I know of.